What industry are investors in Dubai putting money into right now?
The biggest category always in Dubai is real estate. Why would you invest in a closed source US company when China's just giving it away?
Any industry that you're seeing coming that you can maybe give some hint for investor that they have to look out for?
Anything Elon Musk is involved in. AI and robotics is where it's at. The whole world is going to change extremely quickly. Dubai has a lot of great people. A lot of people come to Dubai because they're either trying to escape something or they're looking for a second chance. Now, people come here because they scammed their own country and now they can't go back because they come here.
Tokenization is in real estate is still a hype.
Suppose you are a beginning real estate investor and you want to invest in a property and you need to make sure that that token actually represents an interest in that property.
Hi guys, sorry to interrupt. I need 1 minute of your attention. We are growing the show and we need your support by subscribing to the channel. 80% of you enjoy, but forget to subscribe. This is very important and it's free. I'm counting on you. Welcome to the DealMaker Show. If you invested in crypto, tokenized real estate, or anything promising yield, one question decides, it's an investment or a legal landmine. Today on the DealMaker Show, I'm joined by Gordon Einstein, a technology and business attorney from the United States with 30 years of practical legal experience, and one of the first attorneys to go deep on crypto and blockchain since 2014. He maintained his legal practice based in Los Angeles, and he's also the creator of a fast-growing network, Tech Tuesday, who has 100,000 and reaching almost 1 million on his amazing YouTube channel, where he explained market, geopolitics, and the legal reality behind crypto in a way most people actually understand.
Heaven forbid.
After several successful exits, Gordon now advises and invests in companies building a better world. And from Dubai, he's helping shaping the region ecosystem as a co-founder of Dubai Tech Tuesday, alongside his wife and his partner, Mohammed Siem Hosseini. Today, we're going to get very practical. What's legal, what's hype, and how serious investors protect themselves before they wire money. Gordon, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Good to see you again. And
Yes.
when you say 30 years of experience, I'm like, is that true? I'm like, oh gosh, I guess it's true. So yes.
So today is an investor episode. So Gordon, I want you to do 3 things for us. First, tell us what industry investors in Dubai are putting money in and why. Second, give us a due diligence checklist for investors before they wire the money. Mm-hmm. And third, share what US investors or team you're most bullish on and the early signal you're seeing that people still ignore.
Sure.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
All right.
I like it.
So let's go straight there. What industry are investors in Dubai putting money into right now, and why those sectors?
Okay, so I don't know if it necessarily is what you meant, but the biggest category always in Dubai is real estate. Okay, for a lot of reasons. I'd say international uncertainty, the geopolitics, the safe haven aspect, the desire to have your capital in some kind of physical form. You know, you only have limited options if you want it in physical form. You can have it in gold or you can have it in real estate. To actually something you can hold in your hand, so to speak, with, you know, metaphorically with real estate.
Yes.
So the world is changing, and it's changing rapidly. And it used to be that, for better or for worse, the United States was considered a safe haven. People wanted to put their assets there. They wanted to put their kids there. They wanted to put their houses and condominiums there. That's still kind of true, but they're hedging now. And one good way to hedge is to buy real estate in the UAE. Everyone wants to come here, and so it's keeping the market hot. So I think it's relevant to our conversation, not only because that is a constant source of international investment, but also if you're trying to raise money here, you're competing with people who have the alternative of investing in real estate.
Exactly.
So you need to be able to make a coherent argument why your opportunity is better. Because given the track record of real estate, shouldn't they just buy a couple off-plan properties and park it there? I mean, it's the same kind of check, so to speak. Now, separate from that, of course, crypto and blockchain are still popular, but we've all seen what's happened to the market recently, and I think it's maybe a good thing that happened to the market. I'm not a meme coin kind of guy. That I understand the building I'm in right now, and I'm not down on it. It's just not for me. And there's investing, and then there's speculation. Just like I think meme coins were kind of like the NFT craze. They have some basic functionality, but I think they got blown up a little bit. So we're at this part now with what's happening in the market. I think people are returning to the basic idea, like what does crypto and blockchain represent? What can we do with these things really? And so if you're talking about investment, it has to be a project with a technology that makes sense, that offers something unique, that doesn't exist on other chains, or you're doing something that someone hasn't done or hasn't done well before. That's kind of tough.
Yeah.
We're still in my opinion, we're still in early days when it comes to crypto and blockchain, but there's a lot of things competing with it right now. Obviously, what's on everyone's mind right now is robotics and AI.
Okay.
That is the global topic. And one thing we can talk about, but the question there is, where do you put your money effectively?
Yeah,
because
exactly. Like as an investor, what will be the industry that will be a good move in 2026?
It's a good question. Because I was in a conference recently, and people conflated or confused two issues. There's the issue or challenge of how do you invest in AI companies, like as an asset class? You need to invest in OpenAI, Anthropic, any of these. That's a tough thing that we can talk about for a couple of reasons. But then there's the question of how do you invest in AI, the technology itself, which is not necessarily the same as investing in the AI companies. So, for example, the U.S. has all these private companies, all these for-profit companies with their for-profit AI products, and it's hard to know which one of those is going to succeed. China, for a variety of reasons, issues their AI as open source software. Right, the hardware, from Huawei and everyone else, of course, is not open source, but the software is open source.
Wow.
So why would you invest in a closed source U.S. company when China's just giving it away? Right, and we saw. I think it was last week, Claude came out with Claude Code, which is potentially the beginning of replacing lawyers, right? And you saw all the software as a service companies, not the non-AI software as a service companies lose 10, 15, 20% of their value. Because if you can just talk to your computer and it makes the app you want, why are you going to pay Salesforce? So the technology is here and coming, and it's strong, and people are going to make a lot of money on this. They're already making a lot of money, but do you invest? How do you invest? It's a tough question. So it's a tough question that I love, but it's present. It's now.
Yeah, makes sense. So if we go back to
and we can talk about RWA also, because I know that's a big thing.
If we go back to the beginning when you were talking about real estate, that. When there is a hype of AI, I figure also people are also back to, like you mentioned, to the traditional investment, which are real estate. And there is this, you have to tell us, is it a hype or is it a real or landmine investment regarding the tokenization? Because this is what we're hearing a lot, right? Tokenization of real estate, and government are also investing in it. So tell us about, if for investor, is it the good moment to invest in real estate through the tokenization, or do you think that it's just a hype and it's better to just go to a traditional,
I understand. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to modify it slightly, and then answer your question.
Of course.
But I'm going to set some context.
As a good lawyer.
Well, context is important. So what we're talking about generally is RWA, which is real-world asset tokenization.
Yeah.
So as opposed to, say, crypto, which is tokenizing an asset that only exists on-chain. Like Ethereum and Bitcoin only exist on-chain.
Yeah.
Solana only exists on-chain. But when you tie things that exist in real life, like this coffee cup, to an on-chain representation, that's RWA. That's real-world asset tokenization.
Exactly.
Okay, Why would you do that? What's the point? It's a rhetorical question I'm asking. The idea would be that you gain some additional functionality or benefit by doing that. Otherwise, you're just making life complicated. I mean, exactly. I can go to Amazon and order a coffee cup. Why do I need to have it on the Ethereum network?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the point? And it's nice to be able to hold some gold in my hand or have it in a vault or have Brinks bring it back and forth. Why would I tokenize it? What's the point? And I'd say and sometimes there is a good point, and we can go over that. But often it's sort of gratuitous. It's just an attempt to make it, pardon the expression, sexy when, putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
If a piece of real estate is not a good investment, tokenizing it doesn't make it magically a good investment. It's just putting a attractive wrapper around it. But if you peel back the wrapper, you're like, what the heck is this? I wouldn't buy this on the open market. Why would I buy a tokenized version of it?
Exactly.
So tokenization potentially can provide the following benefits. It can potentially take a large, expensive asset that you couldn't normally invest in and fractionalize it so that the individual parts become affordable. Okay, that's an argument for tokenization. I like that argument. Related to that is the liquidity argument, which is, it's hard. There's no active market out there for 1/100th of a Palm, villa. But if you put those 100th interests on tokens, and that's a global trading network, maybe I can buy and sell those interests more easily. Okay, that's a decent argument for it.
Yeah.
You can sometimes bundle those tokens with rights. So you can say, not only do you get a part of this Palm, property on the Palm, but you can maybe stay there once per year. So the token gets you maybe an interest in the property itself, plus some kind of bundle. Who knows? The neat thing about tokens is that you can be very flexible. They can represent a fractional interest in an asset. They can represent a membership in a group. They can represent a contractual right. Like, hey, I get to stay here, like Airbnb. You can be creative with them. So that's a good argument for making a token. But I'll tell you what's not a good argument. What's not a good argument is that, hey, I can do this and escape securities law. Okay, that's not a good argument because it's still a security. Another thing that's not a good argument is that making a bad investment liquid somehow makes it into a good investment. No, it doesn't. If the underlying investment doesn't make sense, slicing and dicing it with tokens doesn't make it better. It's like you're taking rotten food and giving away small portions.
Yeah.
And so for the entire time. So I've been in the crypto blockchain attorney. Now things have evolved. I'm more investor advisor, but for the entire time, or at least the past 10 years, we've been talking about tokenizing real estate. We're going to tokenize this hotel. We're going to tokenize this real estate development process, and 9 times out of 10, if not more, it's someone taking a real estate project that they couldn't get regular investors interested in based on what it actually was, and thinking, hey, if I turn it into tokens, I can sell it to all these unsophisticated investors and get them all excited.
Yeah.
And people have tried that, and it doesn't work. People aren't dumb. They're gonna be like, well, why am I buying this exactly? What do I get? Am I getting if this real estate has 100 tokens, am I getting 1/100th of the property? Sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're just getting something that's theoretically attached to the property. I mean, can I go to the land department and say I want 1/100th? Am I getting 1/100th of the revenue? That's not always clear.
It's confusing on what you get, so that's...
Yeah, what do you get? You're adding another layer of diligence. And suppose you have a token. That's not the same thing as a contract. Can I go to court and sue for my profits? If the property gets sold, can I sue for my 1/100th share?
Can you?
Well, right, exactly. Exactly, okay? The devil's in the details. Is there a physical contract there or a digital contract there that says this token is like an ownership interest and you have the same rights as an owner? Where is that thing? If that's on the chain or they sign it or they publish it, you can start making that argument. And if the regulators kind of put that mechanism into place, now you have an argument. But if someone says, look, we have 100 tokens and this is a property that's related to it, just that by itself does nothing. And usually what happens is someone will have some property, a hotel or whatever, and they want to tokenize it. They don't actually give away, they don't go to the Dubai land department and register every time they keep doing that. That'd be ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
With its 4%
Endless.
fee. Endless and expensive because it's a 4% fee every time you change ownership at the Dubai land department. What they're usually doing is putting inside an SPV, a special purpose vehicle. that owns this property, and this SPV is tokenizing it. But now you own interest in this SPV. You don't necessarily own interest in the property. And they usually have a management company that's charging like some 20% or 30% management fee. Oh, that they don't. You have to kind of
disclose first.
They get paid first. And what if the property isn't making money and goes bankrupt? It gets crazy. So I think there's an argument for tokenizing real estate, but I think there's an argument for it in the sense of doing it like a real estate investment trust or a REIT. So a REIT is a known security type where you have a fund that is special purpose for investing in real estate. And when you have a REIT structure, real estate investment trust, when the shares in the REIT turn over, you're not having to go pay the land department every single time. There's an exemption for it.
Okay.
And the holders of that REIT interest have clear and defined interests. That, I think, makes sense. Okay, but then the next question is, why don't I just buy shares in the REIT? Why do I need the token exactly?
Yeah.
So you tell me. Now, I begin to get arguments like with more fungible things like gold. Okay, whatever the percentage is, 99.9, I don't think it's 990, but whatever the standard gold thing is, that's fungible, right? Gold is gold is gold. Yeah. When you get to, I think it's 99.99. Whoever's watching this who knows gold, please excuse me for missing or adding an extra 9. Okay, but once it's gone through the Dubai Mint or whatever that thing is, if you put in 1 kilogram of gold and get back a different kilogram, it doesn't really matter anymore. Yeah. When you have something that's really fungible, then you have a better argument for tokenization, I think. But real estate is not fungible. The whole point of real estate is location, location, location. Every piece of real estate is unique. Even two villa developments in the same plan are unique. That's why they sell at different prices.
If you are a corner villa, if you're in the back-to-back.
Or maybe, this one has bad, spiritual vibes and the other one doesn't, or who knows? Or this one reminds you of your ex and this one, happy new wife. So who knows?
Yeah, no, obviously.
So it gets a little weird.
So we're going to position
I know,
it
that was
as
my rant.
Tokenization is in real estate is still a hype. I think that we can conclude that for real estate.
I don't want to be that down on it, and Dubai has a sandbox and they're pushing. I just think that any project, I'm not saying the whole industry is a hype, I think there's maybe a use for it, but you got to be super careful.
But for investor, I'll say that when you are like an investor who have capital, it's still a hype based, because I believe the same thing, and I think tokenization might be interesting for small investors that have less capital and want to own some real estate. Like you mentioned, like you don't have the money to invest in a big villa. So you're going to start by, investing on those tokenization. But if you have capital, it's still better to have the REIT.
Well, I think,
I mean, that's my...
Suppose you are a beginning real estate investor and you want to invest in a property, and you need to make sure that that token actually represents an interest in that property. It might not. It often doesn't. It usually is an interest in the SPV, the special purpose vehicle that owns that property, and then there's some kind of weird management structure.
So you're basically just investing in a share in a company.
Hopefully. Sometimes it's not even the share. Sometimes it's not even the share. Yeah. Sometimes they're just issuing tokens, and the relationship isn't clear.
Yeah.
Welcome to crypto, ladies and gentlemen. Fun times.
Okay, since you're talking about crypto, so what's the most expensive misconception investors still have about crypto?
That the arrow only goes one way.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I think we just saw that with Bitcoin, and or that leverage can't kill you. Everyone thinks they're smarter than the market, but Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger or someone said, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So don't think you're so smart. Okay, everyone's a genius when the market's going up, but when the market goes down a lot and you're leveraged a lot, you'll get wiped out. It happens to people I know all the time. So leverage has a purpose, but you need to know how to manage your risk. Okay. And people get a little bit too excited. They think they're smart, and
Yeah, I think like. When I'm talking,
I don't want to make it like a downer episode, but it's good to be realistic and understand, because I think crypto and blockchain are amazing and can make the world better. there's the tech and then there's the investment. I know it's an investment show, but if you when you're investing, you need to A, look at good tech, and B, look at a good business case. When the tech is right and the business case is right, then you got something. But that's not often. Because you're in like, the land of crazy excitement.
Yes.
Okay, but, in crypto, the tech has to be good, the team has to be good, and the business case needs to be good. But when those things are true, you can do great.
Yeah, I agree that if there's one mistake that has been pointed out from all the experts is that like we're talking about Bitcoin right now, it's like when you're investing in SP 500, you put this money and you just forget about it and you come back in 10 years. That's what I think is the best investment, because if, like you mentioned, you start to be crazy about it and whenever there's a movement, you have a heart attack because you're just like, oh my God, I lost money. Actually, you didn't lose if you're not selling. So this,
you're right.
It's just about when you're investing on Apple share or Nvidia or Tesla whatsoever, you invested, but you're not going to leverage it. You just have to say, okay, I have this 10,000, 5,000, 100,000 that I put on Bitcoin or what, acting as SP 500, where people are more, let's say, they're patient. I will say
buy and forget.
Yeah, exactly. Buy and forget, and just like. Obviously, you're going to see it on your social media.
Don't check your phone. Listen, don't check your Instagram. Don't check your Bitcoin price.
Yes.
But let me moderate that a little bit. The point I was making was against exorbitant leverage. In other words, borrowing against your asset in a reckless way in order to buy more. And the more you do that, the higher your loan-to-value ratio, the more subject you are to liquidation if the price drops a bit, because the collateral for the loan is not sufficient to support the loan, and so they're going to ask for more security. It's true about real estate. It's true about your life, credit cards. It's true about Bitcoin. There is a good argument. If you're taking leverage out of it. Bitcoin traditionally has followed this certain 4-year cycle. Michael Turpin has a whole book on this, and there's something to it. There's like a trajectory, where they call it stock to flow or the 4-year cycle or something. You can traditionally, at least, roughly call the highs and the lows. So there is an argument for when the market gets ahead of itself and gets ahead of the cycle, you liquidate at the top and go to cash or USDT or USDC. You wait for it to come back down, and then you rebuy so you catch the next swing. That way you can get a good multiple effect. Now, it's always possible that, just because it happened in the past, that doesn't mean it can happen in the future. You don't necessarily want to sell all your Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But Chris M&M Crypto, who has been at Tech Tuesdays, and Michael Turpin also, they make the argument that some entering and exiting of the market in a smart, timed way can increase your multiples much more than if you just hold it. I'm a hold guy because I'm not smart enough to time the market, but they're smarter than I am when it comes to this. So they seem to do pretty well there. And there's something to be said for, while you're doing that, you can maybe play with your altcoins a little bit. If the market really gets, Bitcoin, you saw what happened. It went to like 120, 130, and then now it's down to 70 or so. Yeah. If they sold at the top, waited, and rebought now, then that's a 2x multiple that I'll never get because they're buying it for half price. They're getting it, fire sale 50% off, and it goes lower, that's even more. So with Bitcoin, at least, there's an argument because of the way that the supply is constructed and the way that difficulty is changing, and there's only 1 million left to be mined, there's a strong argument for liquidating at least part of your investment in a timed manner and then rebuying. With the Vanguard Fund and the S&P 500, you just hold it. You just, you let it accumulate. You don't pay. The problem is you pay tax every time you sell it, and you get out of the dividend process. With Bitcoin, there's no dividends. There's only asset appreciation. So there's a slightly different argument. But with these altcoins, maybe with the exception of Ethereum-like things, when they go down, there's no guarantee they're going to go back up. They can just be gone forever. So you really just need to get out when you get out. Like a meme coin. I haven't really seen meme coins go back up in value once they fall.
I've seen them disappear and people losing all their money.
Yeah, I mean, meme go up, but I don't know. Maybe there's like a dead monkey bounce, dead ape bounce. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gordon. So let's switch a little bit about investable vs legal landmine, right? So in plain English, what makes something investable versus a legal landmine? You, as I mentioned at the beginning, you're an investor yourself. You've been investing in the Dubai ecosystem and internationally.
Yeah.
I mean, people in Dubai, but with international project. So what advice you can give to investor in terms of the type of project you've seen it, the biggest red flag, I'll say, I'm sure you get hundreds of pitch per week.
I try not to. Actually, my filters are now very strong.
Yeah.
I used to meet and listen to everyone. Now I'm just like,
yeah. So I'm sure now you can say in a couple of minutes you can say not interested or okay, let's schedule a meeting next week.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to say there. Yes, I'm getting approached all the time. What I tell people to do is, give me a few paragraph written summary. And if you, number one, if you can't put it in writing and make it make sense.
So have a pitch deck ready is very important.
Not even a pitch deck. Give me 3 paragraphs of human language explaining it. Pitch decks are nice, but people can hide a lot under fancy graphics. Just give me English. 4 or 5 paragraphs. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And if they give me AI slop, I'm like, it's like I can use ChatGPT myself. I don't need your help.
Yeah.
Don't. What is this business? And and sometimes people go, make it ChatGPT, but don't make it sound like ChatGPT. I'm like, come on, give me a break. So if you give me 4 or 5 paragraphs of ChatGPT AI slop, go away. Give me 4 or 5 paragraphs about what do you want to talk about. And I kind of frame it like I want to save your time also, because if it's not a fit, it doesn't make sense for you to take the meeting. If they can't explain in plain English, there's no point in talking with them. Okay, and then the next, now it's interesting. Fine. It's a stack like everything else. There needs to be a business model that makes sense.
Okay.
Now, different things make sense now than they used to 20 or 30 years ago. There's companies that never make a dime in profit, but then get acquired for $5 billion. I don't know if Instagram made any money before it got bought, or WhatsApp, but they got bought, and the early investors are doing great. So you have to, there's good exits in the sense of the company's profitable, or it goes public, or it gets acquired. It happens. You have to consider each path. But is there a good business or a good project in there somehow? Is there a path to liquidity, or am I just going to sit with my investment forever? What's going to happen in 5 years? Am I just going to be, yay, I invested, and now everyone's using a free product, woohoo? What's the point? Then a big red flag is, well, how much money do you need, and you got to ask, how much money are you raising?
Yeah.
What are you going to use it for? And what do I get in exchange for giving you that money? You would be shocked at how many people can't answer that. Or raising between 1 and 5 million. Well, which is it? Is it 1 million or 5 million?
To put an exact amount on
they can say, look, we're trying to go between this range. If we raise 1, here's what we can do. If we can do 3, here's what we can do. If we can do 5, here's what we can do.
Yeah.
I understand that answer. We're raising between 1 and 5. Okay, why between 1 and 5? It's for marketing. What does that mean? What's your marketing plan?
I love the marketing answer.
I'm going to use it for marketing. Okay, that's great. How? And then the next, so how much are you raising? I need a clear answer. What are you going to use it for? What's your capital plan? What's your burn rate? Are you going to be asking, what else are you going to raise after this? Because if you're raising another 50 million after this, I might get diluted into nothing. So what's your plan for raising capital? What are you going to spend it on? So how much are you raising? How are you going to spend my money? How much more money are you going to raise? And then what am I getting for it? You go, Gordon, you're getting 20% of the common stock plus warrants plus tokens. Okay, that's a good answer. Now I can think about it. I don't know, it's negotiable. What does that mean? That tells me someone hasn't given a moment's thought to what they're actually offering and giving to the investor and how they're going to use it. It's kind of shocking to me. It's like, can I buy this car? Yes. How much does it cost? I don't know. Between 1 and 5 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to present your project as it was a car in the shop, in the sense that you know where you're going. You can say to the investor what they're going to get, which issue you're solving, why is it different than any other product.
Well, so you're doing the right thing, which is you're dividing two things. There's the business case.
Yeah.
If the business won't work, you can have a great investment and a terrible business and nothing will happen. The business itself needs to make sense. But even if the business makes sense, I need to know what am I getting for my investment? Mm-hmm. How are we going to use my money?
Yeah.
Give me $1 million. What do I get? 1% of the company. Okay. Why? No, I mean, maybe. Look, if I'm getting 1%, to SpaceX for $1 million, I'll take it.
Yeah. But obviously, it's not SpaceX.
No, you never know. I owe Elon a phone call. He's waiting for me. Yeah, sure, I wish.
So it's perfect for the next topic, which is what are the 3 red flags from those founders that come to you that you will just say they thank you, not interested?
Or maybe even without the thank you.
Yes.
Well, I kind of said, if they can't give me a few paragraph summary, mm-hmm. or they can't put in the effort, they're way too ADHD for me, and I'm already ADHD. So, it's like, come on. If you can't give me 4 paragraphs mm-hmm. about you and your project, then what are you doing? Why should I, why am I going to leave my family mm-hmm. and my baby and everything else? The other one is what I said. You need to clearly, well, it's twofold. You said the right one. You need to clearly articulate the business case, mm-hmm. and you need to clearly articulate what you're raising investment for, how much, what the person's getting, how you're going to use it. If you can't do that, you're not serious.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's so many other red flags. Dubai has a lot of great people, and I think a lot of people come here for a lot of good reasons. I feel that I came here for a good reason. I feel you did too.
Yeah.
But a lot of people come to Dubai because they're either trying to escape something or they're looking for a second chance. And because
Definitely.
Definitely. We both know. Okay, they come to Tech Tuesdays, and I now I can smell them. Mm. Like no, go to another event.
Yeah.
But people come here because they scammed their own country, and now they can't go back because they'll be killed, so they come here. You've heard about the Russian investor who got taken care of, or a Russian scammer who got taken care of. The people, bad apples come here, and great people come here.
Yeah.
I mean, gyms, people. It's like a dumbbell curve. On one hand, you have these truly amazing people that are wasted in their home country because their home country doesn't embrace entrepreneurialism, or is too bureaucratic, or hates winners. You can say that maybe, unfortunately, about Germany a little bit. So that's one end. You got a lot of those people in Dubai, and it's fantastic. I love it. And they come to you if you're here. It's UAE, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
And the flip side is this is a place where people come in and they come out, and you got to kind of watch it a little bit because they think their reputation won't follow them. Mm-hmm. But the real acid test, the real red flag is when they can't answer detailed questions off the top of their head about the more fundamental things about their business.
Yeah.
Because once I'm a little bit interested, I start drilling. And when they start getting that blank, scared look.
Yeah, it's a basic question, and they're like blank, they don't understand.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're looking for...
Is it really your project? Are you...
We're raising $1 million in investment. Okay. Do you have a contract for that? No. Huh? How's someone supposed to invest if you don't have a contract?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll draft it once they agree to invest. You don't know it? You don't have it already? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, they don't have framework. They don't have an idea about... I realize also it's very...
Sorry. We use quantum encryption. Okay, great. Explain quantum to me. And my last name's Einstein, so I will know if you're full of it. Well, we'll get our CTO for that. You're the business developer, and you can't even tell me what your basic technology is? It's like, come on.
I agree. Especially I'll say when you are if you can pitch your project in 2 minutes on what's different and why should I invest in your project? Mm-hmm. And they're what's the equity? Obviously you're asking for money, and they're like, no, but what's the equity? If you're talking to an investor, if you mm-hmm. cannot say what he's getting, which is going to be equity, that's it's just,
or something.
It's just bullshit.
Yeah.
And and I will say, you mentioned, which is, we need 5 million for marketing. What do you mean 5 million with marketing? We are in the era of AI, where you can just, of course, you're going to like pay ads and whatever, but 5 million for me, when you say 5 million marketing, if you say that in 2010, I will say, okay, but right now, with all the technology, is such like, it means that you're behind, that you don't have the right tech, you're not be advised by the right people. So for investor, I'll say to have a very 3-slide pitch, if they have it ready on their phone, if they have a formal like a 1-pager on like equity percentage, what you get in the share, they already have legal jurisdiction mentioned in it. And I would say that if they come in Dubai, if they already have, for me, I feel like when they're in Dubai, if they already have Dubai jurisdiction, sometimes an office, because if you're here in Dubai to raise money, if you're an investor, you want someone who has invested in an office or in, kind of having a legal entity here, because otherwise...
Can I comment?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Look, I am sympathetic to the idea of like 3 16-year-olds working in their parents' basement, cooking up the next billion-dollar company. I think that happens.
Yeah.
And if you're... Look, I'm 56. If I, as a 56-year-old, like you poo-pooed them because they're talking a certain way and wearing their hoodies and being ridiculous and, in the basement, I could easily miss out. Okay, and I'm not here to judge people on their culture, on their age, on their religion, or any of that stuff. I'm here to like look at their intention, their brains, and their product. So if they're like that, maybe they need someone like me to kind of translate them, and this happens a lot, obviously, to more traditional type investors. And then that's a good role for me because I can be the horse whisperer. I can be the investment whisperer because I program, I'm not a great developer, but I'm a developer. I understand AI, I think, and I can talk to them. I'm not going to hang out with them and play, whatever the hell they're playing.
Yeah.
But there's a world for this. And then, we can work on the office and the structures and everything else, but they need to kind of, it always needs to be truth. It needs to be some kind of reality. And, and sometimes I find the 3, teenagers and I go, look, guys, here's what you need. Here's the road we need to start walking down in order to get the right investment. And that's a valid conversation. But it's the BSing, or the when people stick to their guns when it makes no sense, that turns me off. Another red flag is a founder or team that won't take feedback. Now, we saw this with the guys who started Airbnb and Uber. They did not listen to their investors and advisors, and they did great. I'm not saying I know everything, but people are successful. They're successful for a reason. You should ideally listen to them and come up with a logical reason why you're not going to do something. Okay, I can understand I don't understand everything. I can understand that someone else may be right and I may be wrong. But if I'm putting in my money, I want to at least understand why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah. It's like, and there's exceptions, but it's a good idea. And sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you find these great team in Ukraine or something, and they're not yet here. They don't yet have a domicile. They don't have their visas. They're there with bombs dropping on their head. And if you come in early and save the day and help them move here, you're on the ground floor and you did a good deed. So it really depends.
Yeah. I think regarding what you say in terms of, it's like the case when you're facing a genius, tech geek, who is so smart but doesn't know how to translate in investor language, if we can say. So as a capital advisor, this is what I do. When I spot a good project, but obviously he's not like the perfect person to pitch an investor. However,
or even to show his face.
Yeah. But what I realized that is still really relevant is that the people that I met that are the most genius, even if they're like, geeky and yes, they don't fit the best, investor. If they face an investor, the guy will say, who is this person? But the idea is very simple. So when we talk about Airbnb or Uber, their idea is so simple. You pitch your brain and say, why I didn't think about it? Why I didn't think about hiring people who want to, to be on the private sector and just make money, or like renting your apartment.
Well, at the time, it was revolutionary. The whole sharing economy, right?
But still,
you're gonna have someone. You're gonna go in some stranger's car. You're gonna let some person into your house.
But the idea, the business model was like, you can put question and you can say, is it work? That's people gonna go and not, go with a formal taxi like in France we have like national like taxi that are owned by the government, and people have their private license. So obviously it was revolutionary, and there were a lot of people against it because it was completely breaking the actual business system.
Yes.
But still the idea is simple. Like, I mean, I can, like Uber or Airbnb, in one sentence I explain you what's my concept. Then you bet on it or no, it's a different thing. So I still think that all the ideas that on my client side that I decided to trust, even if, obviously they are not the best people to go to investor, and that's why it gives us work.
Yeah.
So we're happy about that, but still is like the simplicity in terms of the concept. Then, of course, it's going to be hours of working, questioning, putting the business model together, the law, how can it work in this country? Is the country ready for this type of project? Because sometimes they are great projects, but not ready to be phased out in Europe, and that's why people are coming, obviously, also, like you mentioned. People are also coming in Dubai because they are great in tech. They have amazing systems. So anything that is tech-related, it can be implemented like this in Dubai. So definitely is something...
That's a slightly more recent phenomena that I welcome.
Yeah.
That's something I've observed since I've come here. When I first came here, it wasn't quite so strong. Now I'm seeing them, like, word's gotten out about Dubai.
Yeah.
So people are talented. The people are nervous about what's happening. I just had a meeting this morning with someone in Canada. It's just like, I can't stay here anymore. It's dangerous for my kids.
Yeah.
They're not here because they're escaping their own reputation. They're here because they want their kids to grow up and be safe. Those kind of people I welcome, and that's great. And so I don't hold it against them that they don't have their company set up already. It's like, let's talk.
Yeah.
But it's good once you're here for a while and you're serious. You obviously want to be able to check all those boxes and work on it.
Yeah, it's like, obviously then, for me, for instance, what I always advise the founder is that if you're really serious about raising a kind of like from 5 to up to $50 million dollars, you will have at some point to invest and have a company or have the SPV here, because it will put also the investor at ease. Because like you mentioned, we never know fully why someone came here. And they escaped something, they came here because the geopolitics is like, it's a safe country.
Very, very exciting right now.
So that's, obviously we are just giving some point to check, but everything is flexible. Everything has to be case by case. But
keep a loose brain, but here's some things to look for.
Exactly. You still have to ask the question, if you don't have SPV here or a company, are you looking at, in the future, having your company here, or you just raising fund and going back to your company? Because that's also, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. People run away.
Exactly.
There they are back in Pakistan. Good luck. Good luck.
Yes.
Good luck. Right? Good luck. Do you need a company here? You need an escrow account. You need a time to release the investment money.
Yeah, exactly. So now that we basically explore the industry of tech, crypto, real estate tokenization, do you have any industry that you've seen coming that is not high, but you see that there is those maybe project you're hearing about on the back burner that you can maybe give some hint for investor that they have to look out for?
Yes, anything Elon Musk is involved in.
Okay.
Seriously, because
I agree.
I mean, really, He's amazing. He's my superhero. And what's he involved in? He's involved in AI, Grok. He's involved in space, SpaceX. They actually have a version of Grok for SpaceX called Spock, which I just found out, which is very clever. If you're a Trekkie.
Shout out to Elon Musk. If you want to be on the show, you are welcome.
I'm sure you're welcome. I think she'll make time for you. It's tough, but you can do it.
Yeah.
Robotics, AI, space, obviously. Now what's underneath that all is science and math. Okay, and not being a super science and math guy, shockingly, with my last name originally, I'm trying to make up for lost time as fast as I know how. So whether it's studying chemistry or working on my math skills or whatever, just whatever I can do. That being said, AI and robotics is where it's at. The whole world is going to change extremely quickly. There's an essay that just came out. It says something big is happening. And it got a lot of hype. It got like 50 million views. Some people took it apart. Some people said it was great. Maybe I'm slightly misnaming the title. And the hook in the beginning of it was, remember when COVID was just starting? We were living our lives. We were doing our stuff. We were, as usual, engaged in kind of stupid political stuff. And then we heard about this Wuhan thing, in China, but we didn't give it much mind. We're like, oh, it's another one of these. It's another bird flu. That's something that happens over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whatever.
It's only going to touch South Asia.
And even if it comes here, it doesn't really, it's like another cold. Who cares? Everyone likes to exaggerate this stuff and go spastic. And then a month later, we're all staying home with masks, looking for our toilet paper, not being able to fly.
We had toilet paper in Dubai.
Well, we had toilet paper in Los Angeles because I went to before this all happened, I went to the market and I stocked up.
Oh my God, that's why they ran out of toilet paper.
Because of me personally. Because I was
your survival.
No, it was annoying. They couldn't get their act together, and and there was this moment. There was the background chatter. Then there's kind of like the early. Some people saw it early, then some more people saw it, and then it just came right in front of your nose. So AI and robotics is like that, according to this essay, which is it's like being right before COVID, because the whole world's going to change a lot, real fast, any moment. And when it flips, it's going to be unrecognizable. And if you're like me, you get a little bit of anxiety in your stomach when you think about this. I saw your physical reaction. I get it too. Because there's no way to know if you're handling this correctly. Because you can skill up in certain areas. You can do certain defensive things like try to preserve your capital. You can maybe move to certain locations, but you really don't know what's going to happen. And it's
from where it's going to hit you.
Right. And this thing is soon going to be smarter than all of us. And so we can't outplay that. It's like, this, chess got better than Garry Kasparov, and they got better than every human player. Now there's like Swordfish or whatever that program is, that's artificial intelligence on chess. You just can't win. You just can't win. If you play on chess.com, there was Mittens a couple years ago. Mittens was a cute cat that played at the highest level of the chess simulator. You just can't win. It's impossible. It knows what you're going to do before you do it. It knows every permutation of it. There's like a joke that it played every game of chess in every universe ever. And wow. It always has. That's super intelligence. You're just not going to outplay it. And there's the things you and I play with, ChatGPT or Claude or Grok. This is the Diet
1%.
This is like the Diet Coke version of what's going on. What's really going on? You think China?
They're so ahead.
Or the NSA in the U.S. Or the CIA, or you think OpenAI is open?
I just think what we see is like 1% of the capability of what they can actually do.
It's not
so scary.
And it's a censored, controlled version. They have the non-censored, non-controlled version saying, how can I defeat this country? How can I eliminate this race? How can I how can I control the population? How can I make all the money and leave nothing for everyone else? How can I create a world of abundance? How can I cure cancer? Like the models are...
I wish it was only how to cure the cancer and how to make us all wealthy.
There's a meme right now where whatever. It's from that Star Wars remake. It's really stupid. It's like, and the guy who becomes Darth Vader goes, "We need more data centers." And Papali, whatever her name is, looks at him and goes, "To cure cancer, right?" And he's just like looking at her, and she goes, "It's to cure cancer, right?" No, it's not. I mean, some of it is. AlphaFold released every protein known to man for free. It's great. There's a lot of great things you can do. There's fantastic. It's a fantastic tool, but it's a very powerful tool, and everyone has it. And there's a meme out right now, or a book out right now, which is, if anyone builds it, every one of us dies.
I agree.
And so it's what's going to happen. A lot of people can get very wealthy in the process. And then, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that on the next 10 years, we're going to have trillionaire. So obviously, who own all the AI and Elon is making his way to be the first trillionaire, I'm sure.
Right before he comes on your show.
Exactly. When you're a trillionaire, you come, Elon, please.
Well, before and after. We'll do it before and after. So being on the show is the trick.
The thing that piqued my mind is obviously about the anxiety, especially. I think in our industry, we have access to so many smart tech people who work on confidential project, and then we're aware about this project and what's happening all over the world, and we're like, wow, that's next level. Like, I'll say in my last show with Mo Gaudat,
good job getting him.
He says something that summarizes everything. AI is great. The issue is the ethic behind AI that is built by human. The issue is not AI, is what we're saying behind, right? Because we are the one saying behind, cure the cancer and make us all wealthy and to be all at peace and no war. But who is behind? It will be how we build the AI. And we talk about dystopia, and he believed that after a couple of years, AI will be so smart that he's going to say, you know what, we're not going to listen to this stupid human. We're just going to actually run to make the world best. But it can be through just killing us all because we are not worth it, which can happen.
Yes, it can happen.
Which can happen. So the anxiety level is very strong, and we both have very small kids, and I think this is what's making the anxiety worse, because we're in 20 years I have no clue in which world my daughter's going to be.
I mean, there's already geopolitical stuff. There's already climate change. There's already all this ethnic fighting and war in China and blah, blah, blah. Now we got AI to deal with, and it's not 10 years off. It's 1 or 2 years off. And
I think I don't know if you have the same feeling, because when I talk to my friends and I'm like, the next generation is going to be half robot, and they're laughing at me. There will be no doctor, there will be no lawyer.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but people are like, oh, it's so far away. I say, what are you talking about? Come to Dubai, they have the first AI judge. I'm saying, what do you mean AI judge? I said the judge is an AI. So he doesn't care who is in front of him. He has all the aspect, and he just reply based on the program he's in. So now they're going to put on the mall, they're going to have this scanner. So you go in the mall, you go to this scan, and he's going to give you a full physical checkup and give you the medicine that they have in China, So all of those, and then for people, if they want to enhance their vision, they're gonna have those chip, and they're it's very far. Or I'm for me, I'm sure, for instance, that in the next 10 years, people will not get pregnant. They will go through the robot.
I just thought about this.
Because it's gonna, because of the smartness of the AI, people will not have natural children, because they will be kind of, retarded, basically, as we're going to be retarded. So if you want to have kids, you're no, they have to be half robot. Or I know it looks so crazy.
Let me comment. There's genetic editing of embryos, CRISPR or whatever it's called. That's already here.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can now, we're still in the process of understanding how these genes work, but we can go directly in and edit an embryo's genes.
Yeah.
That's already at the place. And then the mother's womb is sort of like an epigenetic environment that determines how those genes will express themselves to a certain extent. And then there's what happens to that kid after he or she's born, which has a lot of impact. So there's lots of things that go into making a person a person. And, it's the usual nature versus nurture discussion, which obviously it's both. But your range is your genes. Used to be. Now you can modify the genes, right? And that, if you ever saw the movie Gattaca from 1997 or something, it was all about that. This idea of artificial wombs, I've been looking at that not out of personal interest, but just because I think maybe that's how China is going to. What I think happening with China is, it was demographically crashing. That's why they're embracing robotics and AI so hard to avoid the demographic crash. But maybe in 10 or 15 years, they have mass-produced babies to rebuild their population, which is aging right now. It's the fastest aging population on the planet. That would require artificial wombs, which is we're not quite there yet. And I don't know if we're going to be there in 10 years.
In Europe, they have the same issue. If you see Germany,
but they don't have the national consciousness to rebuild their ethnic populations, for better or for worse, and for obvious reasons, right? Their history and everything else. But I don't think the Chinese have that hang-up. They're more looking from a functional point of view. And I'm not saying which one's right or wrong, but Japan and South Korea are in like their terminal ascent. China's not. It's over the curve, and China has such a huge population that even when the population declines, which it is right now, there's still a lot of them. Yeah. But they're automating their way out of the population labor force decline. But I think the way that their brain works is they're going to try to do this. We're getting a little bit of a field of investments, but this technology is coming. I'm just not sure when. But when it does come, yes. I mean, why wouldn't you give your kid the virus-resistant DNA? Why wouldn't you give that kid super strength? Why wouldn't you give that kid perfect eyesight? Why wouldn't you
just when you go to the machine and you just select, so you wanted to have Elon Musk QA, and then you're going to have here, you want him to have your eyes, and you want him to have your white hair. I need my eyes, yeah. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you select. And by the way, this, I know a lot of in Europe, for people who goes and select, you can select the eye color, you can select the gene to remove any, bad, like let's say if you have diabetes in the family, you can already select that. Now, it's just that obviously everything comes with the money. If you have a big budget, you can select whatever. And with the technology, it's going to be literally creating...
cheaper and easier. It will be
and mass production, like you mentioned.
Yes.
So since we're talking about all the subject, what I feel it's very relevant for investors, especially in the region, is that I still feel that you have the US mindset. So when you're talking about, whatever Elon Musk...
What is the US mindset?
So I'll say the US mindset is more like really Elon Musk. You know what I mean? Like, let's go to space.
He's from South Africa, but yes.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
There's a reason he moved to the US.
So the tech mindset, which is like, any tech genius that even is not from US, go to US and go to the Silicon Valley to be there because they have this spirit. Like we have now in Dubai. Like, if you're an entrepreneur, whatever the division you are, you come to Dubai because it's easy to set up your company.
Yes.
US is still ahead in terms of tech because you go there and you have these people you're going to meet, and they are like, there is no limit on, if you say, okay, you know what, I want to build this on the moon, they say, oh yeah, why not? So this is the spirit that I still feel, even like you mentioned, like whatever Elon Musk is building is a good investment. Do you still think that in Dubai...
I'm not saying invest in Elon Musk. I'm saying he's choosing the areas.
Yeah, the industry, which is the space and which is...
AI, robotics.
Aerobotic and driverless car.
Yes.
So do you think that in Dubai, for like investor-wise, there are still like kind of a difference in terms of they are more conservative in some industry compared to US, which is more like, like you mentioned, there is zero. They literally
I know what you
create.
mean. Okay, so the venture capital,
Yeah.
as a profession and as an investment class, dare I say, only really lives in the U.S.
Agree.
I hate to say that.
Agree.
Okay, they try to do it in Europe, and they try to do it here, and they kind of try to do it in China, and I don't know what else. It's just in the U.S. in a league of its own, and nothing else compares.
I agree.
Okay, now, and angel investing also. You have different angel investing groups here and Europe and everywhere else. In the U.S., they really do it. They don't just have the meetings. They don't have the presentations. Like there's Kabuki Theater, and there's doing it. Again, they do it in the U.S. God bless them. Okay, I'll tell you what they're not doing in the U.S. Okay, what they're not doing in the U.S. is having state-level vision, like national vision, and aligning policies at every level along that vision and throwing resources at it. Okay, they're not doing that. They used to do that. That's what made the internet, ARPANET. That's what made the interstate highway system after Eisenhower saw the Autobahn in Germany. We used to do it, and now we're busy figuring out, what's a man and what's a woman, and making sure that bathrooms are integrated or whatever they're doing now. I don't even know what they're doing anymore.
And eat.
Now they're spending millions on pronoun selection. Okay, but in China, God bless them, and in the Middle East, here, what they're lacking in venture capital doesn't matter as much because the state is doing it.
Yeah.
And the state has more resources than venture capital ever will. And you can have 10 venture capitalists in the U.S. do something, but throw money at AI. In China, AI is infrastructure.
Yeah.
They're just going to do it. They don't care about the profits. They don't care about the return on their stock. They are like, this is the future. We have the rare earth metals. We have cheaper energy than everyone and more of it. We have the industrial manufacturing capacity. We're going to retake Taiwan within 5 years. We are, you can keep your NVIDIA chips because we build everything. Yeah. Okay. And in the UAE, obviously, which is a much smaller place and has resources but doesn't have China-level resources, they have a national policy and they're pursuing it. And you have enough bright spots, ADGM, the different national and Emirate programs.
Yeah.
They act like venture capitalists in a way that maybe individual investors don't.
At government level.
At a government level.
Yes.
Now, in the sovereign wealth fund, there's no U.S. sovereign wealth fund. We just have sovereign wealth debt. Okay. But when you have the Madala, I should know how to say it. When you have the National Sovereign Wealth Fund in the UAE making these investments, who cares if the VC is involved?
Yeah, you mean Mubadala.
Thank you. Okay, see, that's why I need you.
Yeah, Mubadala.
Right?
They are great, and they're investing intensively, in the US. Last time I was reading, so the UAE have invested 30 billion in the biggest data center in US because AI data center are the center of building any system. So you need power.
Are they?
I mean, you need power.
So let me push back. Here's where it gets tricky for a couple reasons. Okay, so there's not enough power in the US to power all these data centers. We need something like 32 terawatts or something. And the US energy grid can't support it. And we'd have to restart fission reaction. We'd have to do massive solar. We'd have to get fusion power going. And in the US, it takes 10, 15, 20, 30 years to build a nuclear power plant. That's why Elon Musk is saying, let's put these data centers in space so we can have unlimited solar. Meanwhile, China is on track for producing 3 times the energy of the United States. 3 times. And they have cheaper electricity, and they have these new thorium reactors coming online, and they have the Three Gorges Dam and everything else. And we're at a supreme cost disadvantage in the US and everywhere else other than China. Also, sorry to belabor the point, if you look at Chinese AI models, they are much more efficient than US models. DeepSeek is now a little bit behind. There's other models coming out. the U.S. model need like, I'm just kind of making it up, like 3 trillion tokens to work. And we know China is like 20 billion. And they're achieving something like 85, 90% capacity. So they're not quite as good, but they're coming in at 1/4 of the cost. Well, you do the math. So
OpenAI is losing money.
Yeah.
Is literally losing money.
And China doesn't care.
And,
it's just like,
we'll
build it.
They use so much NVIDIA chip that are super expensive compared to China, who's like learn how to work with cheaper.
Cheaper from Huawei. So what Huawei does is their individual chips aren't as good as NVIDIA, but they have a structure where you can take multiple copies of their chip, put them into a unit, and they work together in a way that's more efficient as a group than the same number of NVIDIA chips. So they're selling modules of their chips, and these things consume less.
So shall we say to the investor to invest on the AI race? Definitely, but maybe in different country.
The question is, how do you invest in Chinese AI? How? These aren't public. There's no. DeepSeek was a side project of a quantitative investment fund or a hedge fund. And the Huawei, you can invest, but it's just it's hard to. See, this is what I was saying before. There's AI in the investment class, and then there's investing in AI.
Yeah. And so the safest is still US because they have like the company that
at least listed. It's available.
They are listed.
But you got a problem.
So you can buy you can invest on.
In the company somehow.
In the company, yeah.
Somehow. Right? And, or if you're a large investor, you can come in, even if it's not public, you can buy into it. China, you can't. There's no access. And a bunch of VCs, I think this happened 6 months ago, a bunch of VCs from the US went to China and looked at their factories. And there's this idea of a lights out factory where you don't have a human. Theoretically, the lights could be out because it's just robots. And I don't know if this is a little bit of propaganda from China, just kind of like, to disincentivize us, but all the VCs came back and they said, we're not going to invest in any more robotics startups because there's no way we can ever catch up with China. It's useless. There's no point. It's like DJI drones. It's like, remember GoPro and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, where's GoPro now? So, it's all DJI. Because they have the complete supply chain from the moment they get the metal out of the earth to the fact to it flying over Ukraine. So, they own every single stop. Now, I personally don't think it's that extreme. And I think there's room for cleverness and innovation, but with China, we're competing against a self-aware competitor. Okay, they're one that's looking out to preserve their position actively, and so we got to be smart cookies. So when you're choosing to invest in, the future is AI and robotics. The question is, as an investor, how do you angle in? You got to be very smart. But if you're smart, this is where the future is.
Thank you so much.
You ready to do your homework?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you are. We'll talk more.
Thank you so much, Gordon. I think
was that an uplifting conversation, or was it mixed?
It was amazing, and I think that we cover so many industry and what's actually happening in 2026. So for the investor watching, make sure that whoever you're talking to understand what's their project. Is there an industry that is
investable?
Actually, that's the thing. Is it investable? Do you have any clarity? And I think it was amazing. Thank you so much,
Lots
Gordon.
to think about, right?
Yes, so Gordon,
exciting times.
How can we keep in touch with you? With the social media?
I guess we can put it in the YouTube description as we post it. But I'm Gordon Einstein. Nice to meet you. I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm easy to find.
Yes, Gordon Einstein.
Einstein, yeah.
Einstein, Gordon Einstein.
You can find Dubai Tech Tuesdays on Instagram.
Dubai Tech Tuesday on Instagram. And then your amazing YouTube channel.
Yes.
Where you start also a new show.
Thank you. I'll sneak that in there. So I'm following in your footsteps. So I've been doing YouTube actually 7 or 8 years. It just came up. But the series is Einstein Impact. It's more structured now.
Amazing.
And I'm creeping up on 1 million subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah, 870,000 this week.
Amazing.
And it's going up by about 10,000 every week.
So please go follow Gordon Einstein.
Yes, Gordon Einstein. Exactly, on YouTube. It's easy to find. Cool. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gordon.
Great talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for watching the DealMaker Show. We really appreciate Please do not forget to put a like and subscribe so we can bring better and better guests and make you more enjoy the episode. Bye.